lights, voices shouting through the night. Static hum that shakes the ground, Rift Nation rising loud, profound. Feel the fire, feel the fight, we're the shadows in the night. Crashing waves, we take the stage, unleash the fury, turn the page. Steel strings scream the truth we bring, echoed chaos, hearts that sting. Electric veins that feed the roar, harder, faster, crave for more. Dust and sparks ignite the air, shattered silence, do we dare? Tidal force, relentless stream, we're the edge, we're the dream. Feel the fire, feel the fight, we're the shadows in the night. Crashing waves, we take the stage, unleash the fury, turn the page. Rift Nation, hold the line. In the chaos, we align. Through the storm, through the pain, we're the anthem in your veins. Feel the fire, feel the fight, we're the shadows in the night. Crashing waves, we take the stage, unleash the fury, turn the page. Rift Nation, hold the line. In the chaos, we align. Through the storm, through the pain, we're the anthem in your veins.
The engine is self-starting.
For launch, GC, go. Guidance, go. Fido, go. Prop, go. GNC, go. Max,
Go.
Eagle, go. Ecom.
Go pending final steps to cabin link check.
2, 1.
Is there anyone here that would like to communicate with us? Can you give us a sign?
Welcome to the Rift Nation Network, the RNN, putting a slide in your glide and a dip in your hip. Welcome to the mothership, the home of the travelers of the universe. With shows throughout the week, you can find us at Instagram, Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, and more. Everything you could want, everything you can need right here, right now. From the paranormal to the supernatural, from comedy to the spiritual. And now, your featured show. Shall we begin?
It's showtime, folks!
Podcast may contain material that some listeners may find sensitive, offensive, or disturbing. We strive to create respectful and informative content, but topics discussed may include mature themes such as violence, explicit language, or controversial subjects, triggering content including discussions related to mental health, trauma, or other sensitive issues, explicit language. Occasionally, our guests or hosts may use strong language. While we aim to handle these topics with care and empathy, we encourage listeners to exercise discretion. If you find any content distressing, consider skipping or seeking support. Remember that this podcast is not a substitute for professional advice. If you need assistance, please consult a qualified expert.
Good evening. Happy Wednesday. Happy True Crime Wednesday on the Rift Nation Network. How are y'all? I'm your host, Joni Skinner. Tonight we have the case of young man from Mississippi, Mr. Nolan Wells, which everybody has seen this. It's all over the news. We're going to go over his astrology, his natal chart as well. So we are streaming live tonight on the Rift Nation Network, Mysteries Beyond the Scenes, live on YouTube, Facebook, and I don't know if we're still on Rumble and Twitch. I'll have to find out, but I know y'all tune in from YouTube and or Facebook. So, and you know what? I'm going to try to go live on TikTok as well. I'm working on the TikTok live. But here's the thing, if you go live on TikTok, I'm going to need an admin and everything, because if you go live on TikTok, it explodes. But that's cool. That's good. That's a good thing. So I'm working on TikTok live too. We'll figure that out by the end of the summer. Maybe. We're going to let the planets calm down a little bit. Maybe in September. Okay, my goal will be live on TikTok after the eclipses in September, and after September, I think we're going to see a real calming down. September, October, November, just real even toned. We got this. We're already almost in freaking August. So let's check in with the chat, and we will get started on Nolan's chart. I know y'all, this wonderful young man, I just saw my little, I can't say that, my young man grandson yesterday. And I had been looking at Nolan's case all week, and I looked at Hagen and I thought, he plays football like Nolan. And, these are good kids. These are really, really good kids. So we have a lot to look forward to with these young people that are at that age group. And this case just broke my heart because of what Nolan had ahead of him. And, I think what's even worse with Nolan's case is the misinformation, which the astrology, I said this in January, and I know everybody that's in the private group, which is Astrology, the series on Facebook, which is where we learn astrology. I teach astrology. I said that the word of 2026, well, first of all, it was going to be WTF 2026 because it's off the charts. But the word is going to be discernment. And I think Nolan's case really defines discernment right now. And so I really kind of just picked up the facts that came from law enforcement, from the witnesses, the people that were interviewed, that were there. And the only other person I would look to for an expert is the Cajun Navy. Why is that? Because they're down there. They we love the Cajun Navy. Peace River, Cajun Navy are our two premier search and rescue groups in the country, right? So that's where they're from, down in Mississippi, down around that Gulf. And they were in the search. So I listened to what they had to say as well. That was it. I pulled out a couple really good creators that I think are covering it very objectively. And, so it's a case that I think, and what's funny is the people that are on this case are not true crimers. Not a lot of them. The people that are swirling the rumors in the rumor mill are not true crimers. True crimers know, we know to wait. We know to wait. We know we can all have opinions, but we also know that we really don't say a whole lot until we see autopsies or the medical examiner speaks. We know better. We listen to the witnesses and the facts. We listen to press conferences. We do all those things. And if the police tell us, law enforcement says, as of right now, we don't see a whole lot, but we're investigating. Y'all, we know to sit back and wait. Some of us get frustrated. Look how frustrated we all got with Nancy Guthrie. But we still, so a lot of the chatter is coming from not the true crimers. The true crimers are being responsible, true crimers. And creators are being responsible because we do this every week. We cover cases. We know better. But the rumor mill are the grifters. The grifters that they're gonna jump on a bad situation and a horrific situation for clicks and likes. So discernment is key here if you're following this case. But I made some posts of who I've been listening to and who I usually listen to all the time, and I found a new guy that I like too, but he doesn't really do true crime. But he's covering this case because he went down and interviewed Nolan's friends, and I wanted to hear that. Of course, we always have Brian Enton, who will always be top notch to me. I think Brian. I listen to Nancy Grace every once. I do listen to Nancy Grace, but she's not really getting a whole lot of the facts on this one. But that's okay too. She will. So let's check in with the chat. We'll get started. This chart, this was a weird, there's some weird things in this chart that really made me think this week. So I wanted to share those with y'all because there were some very weird, we always talk about, and you guys know, I don't shut up about this. When we look at event charts where there was either an accident or there was a homicide or something happened, we always look at the lunar nodes on somebody's natal chart, right? But then it goes up against, well, we're taught that we have free will, right? That's in the Bible, I think. I think it is. If anybody can clarify in the chat, let me know. But I think it's in the Bible. So I've always believed we have free will. So then I get to a chart like this one. And it just makes you think, just when you study and you think you have a little bit of knowledge, you don't know crap. You don't know anything. So it's like, why do you study this? Because you're just going to spring something else on me. That's the universe. I hope everybody's doing okay during our wild July. I think I figured out the basket that y'all have been hearing about. Have y'all been hearing about the basket on online, which is all the planetary alignment going on? Have you guys been? If you follow astrology online on social media, you are seeing Barbeau's basket. Oh, here's his book. Here's his book I've been reading. It's kind of above my head, but I'm getting through it. Hello, Miss Lee. How are you? I thought of you last night, Lee, when I had to go down and get the kids, and they live down in the country, right? And I mean country. So I was talking to my friend on the phone, and I wasn't paying attention to how bad it was raining and it was hailing. And this was about in the afternoon, late afternoon. And I thought, what is going on? Am I driving in a tornado and I don't even freaking know it? So I tried to text my son when I got to my daughter's house because she's down the country and Wi-Fi is kind of, it's spotty because we're on the river. And I'm like, am I in the middle of a tornado? And my son's like, yeah, there's one here, there's one there. I said, but is one coming like right at me? He's like, I don't think so. So I'm like, okay, because I couldn't pull up the radar. So, when our technology goes, man, it's like crap. So I thought, well, if I'm in a tornado, I guess I'll figure it out. I'm as slow as I thought of you, Lee. And I always think of like my friends that are east, that our weather and our bad storms they go east at you guys. I thought, oh Lord, they're gonna be in for a night. How are you, Lois? I hope you're doing okay too, hon. And I did that with Cindy too. I'm like, you gotta, there's tornadoes touching down up in Montreal. Hi, Denise. I hope you guys are doing okay in Canada. Gosh, y'all, this weather's crazy. It's fires, it's tornadoes in July, which in my lifetime, I've never seen that. We have them in the spring. This is freaking summer. Hi, Miss Tammy. It's flooding in Texas. Everybody in the chat's got something going on. It's crazy. Maybe, well, we got you guys, and I bet Linda, you're getting you Linda. That I was going to text you too, and I forgot. The Cascadia near, I guess it's Washington. I hope, and I think you're not on the coast. Is really rocking and rolling out there. I know we got to watch that. We got to keep an eye on that Cascadia out by y'all. So be safe with that, Linda. I'm doing fine. It's crazy this week. It's a crazy week. It's been a weird. I knew it was going to be weird because the astrology is just off the cuff. And I think that's what's causing all this weather, to be honest with you guys. You know, and if you listen to Stefan, he's a physicist, space guy. I mean, he's like a scientist. He totally believes that it's the planets too. Because, you know, the alignments that we're seeing, we've never seen. How are you, Miss Cindy? I hope you're doing well, hon. And don't forget Cindy's show on Monday night on the Rift and Miss Linda's show on Tuesdays at 3 p.m. on the Rift Nation Network. So thank you guys for showing up. Got you shared out, but on a call. Okay, hon, thank you. Have a good one. Hello, hon. How are you? How's Tennessee doing? Did you guys make it through those storms? They were down in the mountains too. I saw that. Gosh, my friends, I worry about it. It was bad last night. I know we had it in the afternoon. So it had hit you guys last night. Jeez, I'm done with it, you guys. I'm done with tornadoes. Done. Oh, I do. I couldn't get the Wi-Fi where I was at. I was down in the country. And it was so bad. It was so bad. And it was pouring down. It was raining so hard, but I was yapping on the phone and I wasn't paying attention to it until I got off the phone and I went, oh crap, look at this rain. Because you got to drive fairly slow on windy country roads anyway. You can't go flying around in those roads. Thanks, Miss Linda. How's everybody's week going? Have you guys had weird happenings with the planets this week? And it'd be about the 29th, the full moon. And then we got eclipse season in August, and then we're done. Promise, we're done. Hello, Miss Donna. How are you, hon? And then we got that storm down in the Gulf. No more rain until Monday. Storms be gone here. I know it, Lee. And you know what? After this, I don't know if you guys still have that horrific humid weather. Like it's like it's terrible. It is. Let me look. It is so beautiful here. The girl at McDonald's this morning when I went to get my Diet Coke said, I'm cold. And I'm like, yeah, it's a little chilly. It is right. It's going to get down in the 50s, 56 degrees here tonight. And it's been in the 80s at night. It's actually chilly here. So you guys got that coming at you. Fires are terrible. Northeastern Washington, Canada above us is battling fires too. I know, it's just terrible. Terrible. Well, you know, we're in fire and air. So you're going to be battling, I imagine, that stuff till about the 29th of July with the fires. Let's hope not. Let's hope it calms down and get some rain to you guys up in fire country. It's just awful. Keep an eye on our friends up in Canada too. The thunderstorms. I know, it was crazy. It was crazy. I shouldn't have been talking on the phone. I thought, oh well. It's at 3 o'clock, Tammy. So you got to watch it on YouTube at night. It's at 3 o'clock Eastern time on Tuesday. So I watch it usually either listening on my way home or in my car. Yeah, y'all need rain. Do a rain dance, Linda. Do a rain dance. Yeah, I'll tell you what, one good thing, and then I'll get to the case. I'll quit rambling. I don't know about you all. Our hydrangeas here, I'll take some pictures and post them. I have never seen the hydrangeas like they are blooming this year. They are absolutely beyond. I mean, it looks like Martha Stewart's garden everywhere I look. Where anybody has a hydrangea, it is gigantic. The hydrangeas in bloom right now. Vicki and I were talking about it at work. They're absolutely stunning. I've never seen them like this. I have never seen that. Yes, Miss Tammy, it's 2. Yeah, 2 your time, 3 my time. Yeah, 2 your time, hon. She'll forget. She says she'll forget, so. But I'm glad we're all safe, and I thank you guys for tuning in. I'm glad we could all get together tonight. And have you all been following Nolan's case? Have you heard about this case? Have y'all? I know it's been crazy. It's been a little nuts. Next 2 weeks, it's nuts. We're in that basket. We're getting tossed around in the basket. I don't know why they aren't. The reservoir near us has been hit hard with the fires. But doesn't it rain there a lot? Aren't they close to the ocean? Can't they just go out to the ocean too? Do those flowers prefer shade or sun? Morning sun, afternoon shade. And they do get very wilty in the afternoon sun. And you just water them. But they prefer sunshade. They don't like full sun. But they would grow good in Texas, I would think, but you'd have to be in a shady type area. Been watching day one. You're so sweet. So you've been watching Nolan's. Okay, so let's get into this. You know what I heard today from his friends. You know, I don't know why people jump into these tragedies. And I put myself in his mother's shoes, and she's in shock. We all know that. When you lose a child, you would have to be in complete and utter shock. So I don't feel like I don't want to call them grifters, but I hope they mean well. When you see these people that are so-called famous or whatever, that they come in with, I feel like a lot of them come in with agendas. And a lot of them come in to make hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I shouldn't say that, but it's my opinion. And that's how I feel. And I think if you're going to come in and be supportive and hey, you guys, let's support this family. They need some money. Let's do a GoFundMe to help pay for the expenses or whatever. I think that's great. But when you come in and you misquote the facts and you try to get people stirred up when there's not an area to be stirred up, you're a grifter. And I don't like that. There are certain attorneys, and I've been around a lot of attorneys for 20 some plus years, and the majority of them are very nice and they mean very, very well. But then there are some grifters, and boy, they can grift. So I think the one that I don't know, we'll have to watch and see. Keep an eye on this. Okay, so they did find Nolan's remains 2 days following his disappearance. However, the ME from Mississippi has not released autopsy reports, which, Nolan transitioned July the 4th. So I get that. We don't get autopsy reports that quick, especially when it's not an obvious, something like a gunshot or, head or something to that extent where they can visibly see it. If they're not going to give out the results until they get back the toxicology. It only makes sense. He did, and I don't like that. He has done damage in this area with another case, and that's where I caught on to him. And what he did today was probably one of the worst things I've ever seen happen in front of a mother and father that are grieving, and made such a production. Now, I'll skip ahead to make a long story short. He is an attorney, and Crump came in and got a second opinion for an autopsy. No problem. Do that. I would say everybody do that. If you feel the least bit leery of any of that, you have every right to do that. Nothing wrong with that. But when the results came back, he put on a production with like a whiteboards. It was unbelievable what he was doing. I felt it was in horrible taste. It was grandstanding to put that mother through that, to hear what she had to hear. It was you have to listen to it if you can handle it. I finally turned him off because I thought that poor mother, I just couldn't listen to it anymore. So, but we'll get into that. So let's get started. If you haven't been with this story, I'll get you caught up, and we're going to keep an eye on it because there's still a lot of questions. I think everybody knows that. So here he is, Nolan Wells. Now the kids that were out that day for 4th of July have been friends since elementary school. Now they live down in the banks, down in Mississippi. All of these kids went to elementary, high school. Now they're in college. So 4th of July, they're all home. They all wanted to get together, right? So there is a little barrier island, right, that all the kids and a lot of people frequent. And I know, Donna, you know this. I'm sure there's areas where you are. If anybody's on the coast, there are islands that people go and they dock their boats, they drop the anchors, and boom, they're out for the day, right? Now, when Nolan went missing, when this first went out, especially in the media, what we were hearing was basically he went there with 4 friends, an isolated island. They left him and didn't come back. That's what we heard. So let's get the facts straight. Now, here's a picture of Nolan allegedly on that date with his friends, okay? His friend that was interviewed today said that Nolan had spent the night at his house. All the kids, they had I think he said 4 boats in the group. And Nolan left his keys and his car at his house. So what happened is all the kids piled in a car. They all met with different boats, and they went to the island, right? It's called Horn Island. Now, I want to show, okay, now this is a picture of his beautiful mom and dad. And great young man, played a football, right? He played football in college. He was going into his sophomore year, just an athlete. Good kids, right? So the one boat, they got the GPS on it. It was towed very slowly, made it into dock at 5:25 p.m., right? When we heard that the friends left Nolan, nobody told us that the boat was taken in water and the kids had to leave early because the boat was in trouble. And mind you, this is 4th of July. And his friend said, we had food, we had beer, we had, everything for a party night. It's 4th of July. Right? This was not, I'm going to show you what the media said. Okay, and here's Horn Island. Now, what's interesting, Cajun Navy, right? The pilot and one of the guys from Cajun Navy said it's not unusual to have drownings there because there are spots, and the spot that Nolan was found, it is 2 feet deep, 3 feet deep, and you take one step and you're in 20 feet of water with rip tides. Very strong rip tides on the northwest corner. And you know what Nancy Grace said? Well, aren't there, signs put up? What do you mean signs? These are local people. Everybody knows these areas and where they're, and even the Cajun Navy guy said, right in that northwest corner is where the riptides, and people know that. Everybody knows that. This is 4th of July. These are pictures that are being posted online. Now, does that look like 4 kids that went and they abandoned him? They claim there were hundreds, if not 1,000 people there on 4th of July. Food, drinks, they got their chairs. This is where people go. And his friend said when they docked all the boats, tied them all down, if you jumped off in the front of the boat, it went up to about your chest. If you jumped off in the back, you're about up to your waist in the water, right? So what happened is, now, this is how close the boats are too. We'll get back to Fugitive TV too. He's a great creator too. So he's good to listen to about this case too. So long story short, they get there at 10 a.m. in the morning, all groups of friends. Remember, these kids are all local kids from the same area. They know one another. They jump into the water. They get out on land. They run around to their different groups of friends, and they're having fun, right? So they get there at 10 a.m. The boat that he had come out on with one of his best friends that got interviewed started taking in water. So they knew they were having problems with the boat. They had to get it in. That was at 4:30. Well, his friend said he talked to Nolan a couple times that day because they were all going from friend group to friend group, like kids do. The question is his phone. His phone was left on the boat that was having mechanical issues, right? Everybody that goes to these islands say, we do not take our phones with us. You got to jump in the water to get to the island. No, we don't take dry bags. We leave. And what happened is Nolan wanted to meet a girl. So he told his buddies, I'm going to go. I want to check out this girl. Her name was Kate, allegedly Katie, right? Okay, bye, Nolan. And from what I can gather from the friends and everybody that hangs out there, everybody hitches a ride with somebody else. Sometimes if you're out there, hey, and you know how kids are, if you would go to a party or something, if you went to a party or whatever, you would get a ride with somebody else if the rest of the friends go. This is not unusual behavior. It's not unusual to leave the phones in the boat. So what happened is the following day, they gathered up all the phones that they had, contacted people, say, hey, your phones are all at my house, come get them or what have you. But Nolan's car was at this boy's house, allegedly where the phones were. So you would think, well, he's going to get a ride and he'll grab his phone. So, long story short, Katie said that she talked to Nolan that day and he left and said, I'm going to go with my friends and get a ride back. She came back safely, but Nolan never showed up. There is a time gap in between when Katie, this boat that was taken in water, left at 4:30, right? We don't know what time Katie left. We don't have those details yet. And everybody's spinning yarns, so it's hard to get information, right? So now the kids that came back in the boat that he said he did not want to go back with them are getting death threats. The FBI is now investigating that because the one boy got a odd package at his door. So not only are they mourning the loss of one of their best friends, they're getting the brunt of being blamed for something that they said that they didn't cause this. So there's a lot of back and forth stuff. We got to wait for law enforcement, watch the interviews of the kids, wait for the I say wait for that whole investigation, right? We wait for the entire investigation. And that's what we do on mysteries. That's what we do on mysteries. We wait for all the investigations, correct? Yep, we wait. So this is the event chart. Is everybody following me so far? Yep, down in Florida, sandbars are very popular, right? So I think what the kids are saying, Donna, makes sense. Eastern Washington now, Washington near the ocean, it rains a lot there. Well, that Cascadia fault is out in the ocean, and it's amping up. So keep an eye on that thing. So, but before you were living in Western, now you're in Eastern, which is better. That's good. So here's the event chart, y'all, at 4:30. When when allegedly the boat left, and this was the last time anybody saw Nolan. We really don't have a really good timestamp. So Nolan would be represented by Scorpio, correct? That would be the rulers of Scorpio are Pluto and Mars. Pluto is in the 4th house. This is the end of the matter. I think we're seeing a death pattern start here. I'm guessing. When the moon is headed towards the 8th house, which it is, your death pattern, either transition has occurred, because Nolan is represented in the 8th house. So we know pretty much by looking at this chart that it's transition time, right? 8th house. The moon is the co-ruler. So we know, look at this. The chart is telling us, wait a minute, the moon at a place where recreation, which is the island, everybody likes it. Look, Pisces, it's the water. So there he is, right? The moon is headed towards the 8th house. I think we're going to find out, if they can find out, that the time of unaliving occurred a little bit later than way later than 4:30. Just because of where the moon is headed, right? So we also, I didn't even look for a perp because I don't know if there is a perp yet. We're going to have to wait for the investigation. What I find interesting in this chart is we see that there is drinking because of Neptune, right? We see that. Here's the key in this chart. Whenever you look in the 8th house, Mars and Uranus together, that can be an impulsive, very impulsive, that can cause an accident, correct? That's the 8th house. Do I know if it was an accident? Not yet. We're going to have to wait and see. As soon as they say we've got a crime scene or this was a homicide, we look for the perp. If we did look at a perp, it would be Taurus, and that would be Venus up in the 10th house. So we don't know yet. We don't really, the timestamp was really a little bit, I think it's off. I think it was much later. Now, what time does it get dark down there, Donna? Down on the Gulf? What time does it get dark down there? It gets dark a lot earlier down on the Gulf than it does here. Down in Florida, it gets darker. Now, Mars Uranus in the 8th house to me is if we're looking at an unaliving by suicide, Uranus in the 8th house is an indication of that. But we know that's not what happened. We don't know that, but that's a marker. Pluto in the 12th, Uranus in the 8th. But I don't think that's an issue here. We're going to have to wait and see. Now, what was funny is that whole Mars-Uranus configuration is squaring Venus. And we know I think, this is a hypothetical guess just from this chart, we're going to have a female that's either got information, she was out in the open, so people know her, but there's a female that's got some information with Venus hitting that Mars-Uranus. Either maybe saw him in the water, saw something, but I think a female maybe could be getting questioned, and we don't know, but a female could have been involved right there. So we've got, now, okay, where I'm at, it's getting dark now. So up around like Pensacola in that area, Mississippi, it would be, so it's about 8:30. So I think it's a good timestamp. It's going to be about 8:30. We're going to have to wait and see. Now, remember, they started drinking at 10 in the morning, right? So we got to keep that in mind. Now, if we just look at this event chart, just to look at the chart, check this out. When the rulers, which are Mars and Pluto, Mars is one of the rulers of Nolan, is in the 8th house. Check this out. A danger indicator that this could be a distress injury and the victim was impossible to see. Hidden, cannot be seen. Could possibly be underground with Pluto in the 4th house. Well, underwater, right? Victim was impossible to see. It was in danger and or death. I thought that's Uranus. That's Uranus. That's the ruler, or Mars. My bad. It's Mars. Mars is the accident and Uranus combined. But we're just going to have to wait and see. Mars could be, we don't know. Uranus is unexpected. It's a shock. Mars and Uranus together are so impulsive. And when you see his natal chart, he was impulsive to begin with. God love his heart. Wait till you see his wonderful chart. So concealed, hidden. Pluto in the 4th house. 5th house moon, moving toward the 8th house. Transformation could be occurring, has occurred, or is headed towards that. So we're in our pattern now, right? We're in our pattern now. That's the 5th house. He's at the island. That's the beach. There he is in the moon. So then we've got, let's see, Uranus in the 8th house, shocking death, erratic details. Boom. So we're getting some things coming out of the interpretation of the chart that are pretty much online. Now, the 10th house we know is public status, government, the police, the media coverage, public. When the case becomes visible, Jupiter is up there. Jupiter is opposing Pluto, which is Nolan. So it's being amplified. We know it's being amplified, being exaggerated, it's being amplified. So that's the event chart. Now, this is where things get really interesting. I thought, well, we're going to have to wait and keep an eye on this. Here's the event chart. Look at his natal chart up at the top, y'all. Look at his natal chart. Here's the natal chart. Now, as you all know, because we've looked at natal charts a lot, as you all know, I always say the lunar nodes are always triggered. What are the lunar nodes? Okay, the north node is your destiny. South node is the past, what we came here to get rid of. It's where you're comfortable, but the north node is where we're supposed to be headed. This is your destiny, right? So the north node always seems to be triggered. This is where free will comes into play. So I'm going to show you something that was the oddest thing in the world that I've never seen before in two charts. If we look at the Mars-Uranus right there, right? The Mars-Uranus in the event chart equals 7. See the blue? Equals 7 degrees. When I look up to his natal chart, Mars is in his 8th house. Guess what degree it's in? 7 degrees. This is what he was born with. This is his natal chart. I found that very odd. I've never seen that. So here's his natal chart. I don't have his time of birth, so of course I use noon. But look at him. God love his heart. He's all Leo. When his friend described his personality, it's all over this chart. He's got a Leo sun. Look at all this unbelievable Leo up in the 10th house. What a doll. I mean, and his best friend said, if I wanted to smile, that's who I would go see, is Nolan. He was never said a bad word to anybody, never in crosswords with anybody. He was happy. He was just a really great guy. Look at all that Leo stellium in the 10th house. Very visible. Unbelievable. Just phenomenal chart. Venus in Leo, Saturn in Leo, Sun in Leo, midheaven in Leo, stellium. I think it's odd that stellium opposes Neptune. Water. I don't know. 4th house is end of the matter, right? It's the IC. It's the end of the matter. This natal chart kind of spooked me a little, to be honest with you. So if we look at his transiting, now remember the transiting planets are going around the chart on the outside. His natal chart in the inside of the circle does not move. The outer planets are moving around it, and as they move, they're talking to his natal chart. The transit north node, which is destiny, is squaring his natal Mars. It is also squaring his south node. So we got Mars squaring. Uranus and Mars together, which we already saw in the event chart, are with his natal Mars. His natal Mars and his lunar nodes are just triggered, right? Uranus Mars also squares his north node. Uranus Mars is squaring his south node. Now, what amplifies all of this Uranus Mars configuration in the chart? It's opposing his natal Jupiter, which expands everything. It's impulsive. I don't know what happened. We're going to have to wait and see. What do we have up at the top? The The North Node was also, now, North Node was also opposing Mercury, which is communications. So communications got mixed up. And apparently when he was going to leave, and that hit his South Node as well. South Node can indicate a loss. I mean, this chart just lights up. And every time we look at a birth chart with something like this, the natal chart lights up. I found that. So, and anybody that's an astrologer out there, because I know some of you guys are in here, please, please, please weigh in on this, because this natal chart was really, with the combination of these two, when I saw that 7, I thought, oh, okay, what's that mean? I have no idea. This chart really makes me question free will. And I guess we're not supposed to question it, but because I know astrology and I know how accurate it is, I know how accurate forensic astrology is, it really makes me question it, because this chart is just lit up. It's, could anything have stopped it? I don't know. I don't have that answer. Nobody has that answer. You know what I mean? We'll find out, I guess. But this is such a tragic, tragic death for just a young man that had everything going for him. There's his lovely, look how pretty his mom is and his dad. Here is that attorney that Tammy was talking about. Is it Crump or Crump? I'm not sure. I think it's Crump. Ben Crump. So, it was really a shame to do for his mom. Now, if you want to get some really good coverage on this case, Fugitive TV, he covers true crime. He is a wonderful true crimer. And it's because he was a fugitive. He was on the run for decades. He did all of his time and everything, but he brings all of his wisdom and his experience to true crime. So you're basically getting a lot of information from what he knows and what he experienced being on the run as a fugitive, that the law was after him. He's got a great YouTube channel. It's Fugitive TV. He brings out a lot. He is a deep diver. I bet he's a Scorpio, because he really goes and he will not give bad information. He checks out and double checks everything. He's really one of the top that I really like. But he's good with this, because people are sending him videos. He's checking for videos. But look at those boats. This is not a night where it was empty. Hundreds of people were there, if not 1,000. And why not? It's a place to go hang out. Now, this particular gentleman, the Officer Tatum, I found him because I found he was doing he was covering the live pressers and stuff, but he was also interviewing Nolan's friends. That's how I found this gentleman. I don't really know a whole lot about him, but I've watched the interviews and I like him. It's the Officer Tatum website, and he's got the interviews on his website. And I like him. I like his coverage, because he said he flew to Mississippi to get the answer, because it didn't feel right to him. He said the coverage didn't feel right. And he said, wait a minute. They said that it was this deserted island, and it was not. It was partying. People know better. People are on to the grifting now. We know. I think we all know better now, and the discernment is a lot better than it was in 2020. So he went down to interview the kids, and that's what he did. So they're really good interviews. Nolan's best friend is interviewed. It was a good interview. And I believe the young man. I could be completely wrong. But, sometimes you get a feeling. I don't know. This is somebody that they've grown up. Was it an accident that the kids knew they were drinking and they're trying to cover it up? Who knows? We don't know what happened. Oh, and the secondary autopsy results came back today, the second opinion, and it's inconclusive like what we know. It's inconclusive. They said he had some red markings on the back of his neck. Well, what if he fell in the water? It wasn't, they said faint. Did he have football practice that day? Was it from football? Who knows? You know what I'm saying? We don't know. So I'm just giving you guys some people else to listen to. Of course, Brian Anton. I think it's really important with this case to get the really good info. Does anybody else have anything they'd like to add? Hello, hon. How are you? This is, I don't know if y'all are hearing about this case, Carrie, up there or not. Yeah, watch the replay. Hope you're doing well, hon. But does anybody else have any thoughts on this? I see it was getting dark about 8:30-ish. This chart, you guys, I think, here's his natal chart. Look at that. Lit up. This is the event chart, but I think it happened a little bit later than 4:30, about dusk. The moon moves about every 2.5 hours. About 8:30, it would be at the 7th house, y'all. Yeah, this is down by you, Peggy. How are ya? How's the weather down there with the how's the weather, hon, with the storm? It's not even a hurricane though, is it? It's just kind of like high wind and rain. Bertha, tropical storm Bertha. Well, y'all keep an eye on this one. We'll keep an eye on it. And as soon as I get more information and we can get another chart. Look, I found this today. Discernment is the ability to see things for what they really are and not for what you want them to be. Or it should say, and not what other people want us to believe. That's what it should say. It's not what I want it to be. It's what everybody wants us all to believe. We have to show discernment. Sheet in the 5th house. There's sheet, right? Yeah, sheet is, oh, you're in Mississippi, Peggy. That's where this case is from. Nolan Wells in Mississippi. So I bet you're hearing everything about this case. Sheet is the fixed star. And Donna just brought that up. Sheet in the 5th house. Sheet is a star that I usually use, and I did pull it up when there's water, drowning, or a boating accident. Sheet will be involved, and I think it conjunct, I want to say, was it his north node maybe, or its later degrees. It's almost into Aries, so it was the later degrees, but Sheet's in the 5th house, which means it was at the park. Not well, it's a federal park, federal land, but it's the island where people have fun, and Pisces. So that's correct. And he was there. Oh, I'm looking at his natal chart. What the hell? Was his rising is the same as his natal chart. There's Sheet right there. See Sheet? There's Sheet right there. Almost conjunct Neptune. Conjunct Neptune. She was in play because look at that. Boom, hitting that. Look at that, Donna. Sheet is up there hitting Uranus, Mars with Neptune. Look at that. The Magi triangle. So Sheet did come into play. Sheet is drowning. It can be a boat wreck too. Like the Titanic. She was big on the Titanic when it crashed. So we will keep an eye on this case. I hope you all keep an eye on this one. Thanks, Tammy. Also, the preliminary hearing. Do y'all remember the case with David, the rapper, that they found Celeste in the trunk of the Tesla, and he got arrested for her unaliving, and the horrific prelim was today, which it's going to get turned over to a trial, but I'll have more info on that next week. That preliminary was today. It's be a couple of days. Sheet in the fifth house. Sheet never fails, does it, Donna? Every drowning or anything in the water, or you will always find sheet. Fixed star sheet. It's crazy how accurate this astrology is, what it tells us. Living in Mississippi, that's where this case is. So we'll keep our eyes, we'll all say prayers for his family, and his friends too. His friends are hurting too. This is one of their best friends. And I feel bad for these kids that, people should just stay objective and be supportive to all involved. I think that would be the best thing to do if they were my friends, my community. I think I would just be supportive to the family and to the friends and to everybody until the truth comes out, because the truth always comes out. But I would not be accusing people. I certainly wouldn't be doing that. Not when this is his best friends. It's not right to do to the child, or his memory, or the memories for the kids. It's a sad situation. It's sad. So we'll keep an eye on it. And does anybody else have anything they want to add? Any other cases that y'all are watching or keeping up with? There's not a whole lot of them out there, are there? We had Nolan disappear. And the minute I was pulling up the chart, he was recovered. Poor kids didn't even go to the funeral, probably because the parents were accusing them of suspicious activity. Well, and the thing is, Tammy, the mother originally did not. The mother was said, they were all such good friends and very close. It didn't start to occur till certain people showed up on the scene. And then I think she just, she's in a very vulnerable position, rightfully so. And I think they're just going through the steps. You know how that is, y'all. When something like this happens, you just basically go through the steps. You don't even feel like you're there. So I think it's the manipulation of a lot of the wrong people. And that's a shame. It's a shame. It's very sad. Either way you look at this, it's very, very sad. We'll just say our prayers for everybody involved, Yeah, I'm not a fan. I'm like you. I'm not a fan. I saw what happened here with him. And what's funny is the people of the town know it too, because he appeared in a town where I was working. And there was a bad unaliving occurred there, and he did that there. But the people in the actual area and the people that knew what had really happened knew better. So I'm hoping that the people know better in the town. And we'll just have to wait and see. Accidents happen, unalivings happen. We just got to wait and see. I think we're going to look more at a time of around 7:30 or 8. I think a female's going to come forward with some information. Let's hope. Unless she already has, and the police are. Now, the police are being very hush-hush about this. It's an investigation, and we'll have to wait and see what happens. We'll see what happens. And, they're doing everything. They're getting everything out of his phone. So we'll see. We'll see. So, great show. Prayers for all. That's so sweet, Denise. Keep prayers for all of them. I hear you. Well, you guys have a great, safe week. Have a safe week. I'll be here next week. Oh, geez. Next Wednesday is the full moon. Next Wednesday, we got a full moon in Aquarius. It's a feisty one. It's a feisty one. So we'll talk about that a little next week and some other cases that pop up during the week. I'll keep my eyes open too. And I'll let you know about David's trial coming up. That's a horrific case. Remember, she was in the Tesla out in California, that young girl. So everybody have a blessed week. And thank you so much for tuning in. We'll keep our eyes open, and any cases, just send them to me. We'll keep an eye out for everything. So be careful, be safe, and I'll see y'all next week. Thanks for tuning in.